Labouche, Miguel Antonio Barragon. Thank you for joining us. It is the Hard Reset Show. We've had a little bit of vacation time. We're all back. I've got a format. I've got emails. Boy, I got lots of stuff to talk about. Let's get started and find out what's going on with our co-host. Andrew, what did you do with your last Sunday since you had the day off?
Oh man, I think I replaced the water heater last Sunday. Yeah. Yeah, that awful moment of when you get in the shower and it just won't get warm anymore or hot. I was like, what the hell's going on? Thermocouple was bad, but I had a leak a little while ago that got clogged up again and stopped leaking, but I just replaced. So yeah, man, water heater was at my house.
Oh, sorry to hear that, Andrew.
Yeah.
That is not you should have come down to COVID Disneyland, bro. I mean, with half the lines, you probably could have gotten on the Star Wars attractions. I turned to now the new, well, at least for the next 2 or 3 months, the new executive producer and engineer of Fight Net Radio, Miguel Antonio Barragon. I'm going to print cards for you to that effect.
That works. I'll take it.
I bet you will. Goes with the T-shirt. Right. Miguel, how was your Sunday off? What'd you do?
I went to a storage unit to unload some stuff because, long story short,
Jesus
my dad
Christ,
is in
you guys suck at a day off. I literally gave you 3 days notice.
It was freaking horrible. I'm in Vegas. It's hot as hell, and this storage unit is just full of dust and heat. Yeah, it was not good.
Nothing exciting, Lee. Nothing
you
exciting.
You guys are hilarious.
Exactly. We do nothing without you, Lee.
All right. So let's get this over with. So last Wednesday, I texted the boys, told them they had Sunday off. As many of you know, I have spent the better part of the year drinking like a lunatic because every single show was me being drunk and trying to record a Fight Net radio show. So I went to rehab. So I took out a loan for $1.2 million, and I went to the most expensive rehab San Diego has. It's on Coronado Island. Go check it out. It's called The Compound. They said I could give them free publicity for some reason. Go figure. But it's not just for alcohol. Apparently, you fill out this form when you initially come in, and you've got to list everything you're addicted to. So, and this is no joke. I said that I'm addicted to sex and love, as well as many of you who listen to the show regularly know this about me. And guess who? This is, I swear to you, this is no joke. Guess who sponsors the Addicted to Sex and Love wing of The Compound?
I have no idea.
I'm going to go with
Robert Palmer. It's Robert Palmer. I kid you not.
Nice.
I wish I could make that up. Now, are you ready for who my roommate is? Because you guys are never going to believe this shit. I have 3 roommates. Number 1, and he said I could say his name, and he will be on next week. Oscar De La Hoya is in here with me.
He's so stupid.
He's in on drugs and sex addiction. Oh. This is one just for Migs and a few people. War Machine got a pass. He's in the other bed. That's right. I can't even pronounce his last name. I just call him War Machine. I don't want to piss him off. And then remarkably, in the bed across from me, I wish I could make this up, is a Bulgarian female weightlifter. I think she was a guy once, because this is a co-ed place. Dude, it gets crazier and crazier, right? She is a Bulgarian weightlifter who is addicted to steroids and PEDs and sex. And she scares the shit out of me. She blew up at me once this week, and like, I thought we were going to go to blows, and War Machine got between us, and he's protecting me, and then he got scared. Oscar was like, use spoons. It turned into a thing. It turned into a whole thing. But we will have Oscar De La Hoya legitimately live next week on Fight Net Radio. He wants to talk boxing. They allow him day passes to go out. Apparently, when you pay $100,000 a month to go to rehab, it's amazing. You don't actually have to work out. They just put the little electrodes on you like Bruce Lee, and they just shock you on a table. You have physical therapy, yoga. I mean, the hardest part of my day is getting up at 9 for yoga and chakra cleansing, whatever the fuck that is.
What the?
and we do take jobs like real rehab. So I wanted to share with everybody because, as you know, I had 26 years of sobriety. So I'm familiar with, you take a task when you go into a program like this for a year. And by the way, I don't think I'm going to make it a year. I've already prepaid $1.2 million, which I didn't have. It was my daughter's college fund. I'm going to make it maybe a couple of months. I'm just telling you already. Oscar is really crazy. War Machines on like Thorazine. And the Bulgarian weightlifter, I don't know if she has a penis or a vagina. I just don't know. So I took my job at the place. I supervised the Skid Row alcoholics who clean the place. That's my job. I'm in art therapy, music therapy, and sports therapy and something else. I mean, I signed up for a bunch of shit. But here's the big thing, and I told this to my counselor. I'm going to out myself for yesterday. I relapsed on my sex and love addiction because I went on Tinder, and the first image that popped up was one of my exes. And I went to my counselor, and I was a little stressed out and got really down about it and got all grumpy at dinner. I mean, we had surf and turf last night, and I was really, really upset about it, actually. And I couldn't finish. I couldn't finish the ribeye or the lobster. Oscar just laughed at me and he said all of his exes are on Tinder. I don't know what that means. But if you suffer from a problem and you have $1.2 million to prepay for a year, hey, I mean, this place is. We got to go to the Padres games last week. I mean, most people during COVID don't go out. We actually went to a private bubble room and watched all the Padre games last week, live at Petco. It was crazy. They take you in hermetically sealed limos. This place is great. I mean, I feel bad my daughter can't go to college now, but, my sobriety and my dating history, which has affected this show, had to be dealt with just for the betterment of the show. So I've got coffee. I've got a bunch of stories. I have decided that for the betterment of this show, I want to make you all more rounded. By the way, I took podcast therapy. We actually meet once a week with Joe Rogan via Zoom meeting, and he talks about podcasting with us. Go figure. And he gave me a good tip. He said, you should well round the show. He goes, I like the structure you did before you came in, where you had little parts and pieces. He goes, round it out a little bit more. He goes, you got a winner. And I asked him if he would tweet about our show, and he goes, fuck no. So I don't know what that means either. But apparently that means fuck no. So let's get started. If you don't know anything about Fight Net Radio, this is your first time. This show is primarily about combat sports. We are coming up on football season, which will occupy a portion of our day. We also do a piece on odds and ends. This week's odds and ends, we're going to talk about some amazing shit that popped up on TMZ clips, so that you have shit to talk about the cooler. We'll start right now with talking about last night's fights. By the way, outside, did you know that when Oscar isn't promoting a fight, he doesn't like watching boxing? I don't want to out him. He's not into it. He's really weird.
He's not a fan?
He likes eating Cheetos and Cheerios.
Together?
Out of the box. Like he walks around with he almost got us busted. We're not allowed to have food in the rooms, and this fucker he has he hasn't brought in, I don't know how it works. Regular plain Cheerios, like a 3-year-old, right? Like,
you're not one of the guards.
I'm sure Andrew's aware of this, right? Like when you have a baby, you just put a handful of Cheerios in front of them, and they're calm, right? Yep. Oscar's the same way.
Morning.
Oscar's literally the same way. When I think he's having a bad day, I just drop some Cheerios in front of him or Cheetos and walk away, and he seems to calm down a little bit. Last night, Victor Postal and Ramirez went at it. Gentlemen, I would love to hear your perspective of this fight. I will start with you, Andrew Labuschagne.
Hey, nice to hear your voice again, Lee. My Sunday sucked. The fight.
Tell Oscar. Wait, Andrew, here's the funny part. Oscar really is coming on next week. I've really arranged. You guys, I know everybody thinks, oh, Lee's just going to do the funny. Hey, bro. No, you guys are wrong. Oscar's going to be on next week. I'm prepping him for this.
The fight last night, it was a good fight. I thought they were a little hard on Ramirez all night. I didn't think Andre Ward was, but I thought Timothy Bradley definitely was. I mean, I text you guys. I thought he had actually laid money on Postal at one point. Um, but I get it. They're trying to keep the fight interesting. I thought Ramirez did a great job, even though he did not bring the same action that he usually brings. He outboxed the guy that they said he shouldn't be boxing. The whole night they kept saying Ramirez needs to take this fight to the inside. He needs to. Postal is a better boxer than he is. Yet at the end, yeah, one guy had it a draw, but the other guys had it clearly for Ramirez. So I thought Ramirez added a kink to his arsenal last night, that he's not just a face first fighter. He can also throw a jab right hand from the outside and outbox you too, because Postal did a great job of moving around the ring, staying behind his jab. You know, Lee, I've said it before on this show. I'm not a fan of the underdog trying to win a fight by backing up and staying behind a jab. And I thought Andre hit it on the head when he said the winner, the story tells the fight for this one. You know, sometimes it's clean, effective punches, it's defense, but in this one, you had a champion that moved forward for 12 rounds. He didn't get out punched. He didn't get hurt. He never backstepped. How can you take his belts away? So I had Jose Ramirez clearly winning the fight. Yes, it was not the same action-packed Ramirez that we're usually adapt to seeing, but either way, he won. We're moving forward.
I turn to you, Miguel Antonio Barragan. Again, follow him at Fight Fiend Migs on YouTube and the old Instagrams. Migs, what'd you think?
Well, I enjoyed the fight. I mean, there was nothing to write home about. Yeah, it wasn't anything super exciting, but it was a solid fight. I was entertained. I did watch it after the UFC card.
Of course, because Robbie Lawler lost, and that was more entertaining.
Wow. Yeah, but nonetheless, to kind of like piggyback off of what Andrew was saying, we didn't see the same Ramirez, right? Now, after the fight, he was being interviewed, and he did mention that I think he just found out that he's going to be a dad again or something like that.
Yes.
So,
yes.
In addition to that, right? In addition to that, he talks about how he feeds off the fans, and there weren't any fans in the crowd. So he was a little bit flatter than we normally see it. But even then, he still did enough to keep his belts. There was no way I was going to give that fight to Postal the way he was fighting. Yeah, he was trying to stay behind the jab. And the commentator has mentioned it a couple of times. It's the Eastern European style, that fight tall, kind of behind the jab. He did land the right a few times, but not enough to keep Ramirez off him. And even then, a couple of times Ramirez stunned Postal, and I was like, all right, well, here we go. Once he stunned him, I was like, oh shit, he's going to be able to finish him. But to Postal's credit, he was able to hang on and take it the full 12 rounds. But Ramirez clearly won.
Was there anything on the undercard that was worth talking about, Andrew?
The Elvis Rodriguez kid had a great knockout. It was against
Elvis Rodriguez and his backstory. Make me
don't
care.
know anything. No.
Oh wait,
Oscar
just lifted
you just
his
asked
head
about the undercard, and I just told you he had a great knockout.
I know, and Oscar lifted his head up about something about Prospect and Elvis Rodriguez. I don't know what that means.
No, he's just undefeated. Look, it was a showcase fight, Lee. There's nothing special about it right now. He was supposed to win the fight, but it's the way he did it. One punch knockout. Great. I believe it was a straight left hand, counter left hand. It was a good highlight reel for him last night. Where he goes from here, we don't know. He's still building. Nothing to talk about yet.
Miguel, did you see anything on the undercard that makes you want to go,
No, besides that highlight of who we just talked about, Rodriguez, that was pretty much it, because I was watching primarily the UFC card. So let's talk
about that for a quick second. The biggest news to come out of the UFC, if you don't know, ruthless Robbie Lawler, trying to make his way back to the main card, suffers a defeat. Did he not, Miguel? Oh, and by the way, War Machine just told me, we were watching the fight together. War Machine said he's a bitch. So there you go. Shout out to Robbie Lawler from War Machine. You're a bitch. Go ahead.
Magny did what he needed to do. He was fighting tall. There were a few times that Robbie tried to get inside and try to go for the takedown, but it just wasn't working. I mean, Robbie's bread and butter is his power, right? But prior to entering the UFC, back when he was a kid, he was a wrestler. So he has great wrestling background, but he wasn't able to really to get that going. and land that left because we know his power hand is that left, and he wasn't able to land it for jack shit. And Magny was able to use his height and pretty much like pepper him for 3 rounds. I mean, it didn't look good. Robbie just
No,
seemed like
no, it did.
I mean,
He actually looked very old last night. Was there
he
anything
looked slow,
else
you know.
on the? Did you see anything on the UFC card? Anyone coming up that caught your eye?
Man, there are too many. There are too many freaking fights, dude. Like it's hard to keep
Yeah,
track.
it started at
Um,
like 1 o'clock or something crazy. It was a long show.
yeah, it's like the prelims on like TV, and then ESPN Plus is the rest of the card.
It's like
There,
Don.
there was,
You know what it's like? You know what it's like? If Don King did MMA, that's what it
yeah,
would look like.
yeah, exactly.
Except he doesn't keep you up till 1 in the morning. He just starts in the middle of the afternoon. Weird.
Yeah.
Also, during the day we had other fighting. Did anybody watch the other fighting on ESPN? I got involved in a bunch. I watched 42 to 1 and Chasing Mike Tyson because I don't have much else to do. I mean, I only have a 100-inch plasma in my room. Believe it or not, it's a plasma, which blew my mind. But a 100-inch plasma TV in my room, and it just has apps. I was going to watch boxing on it, and Oscar said no because it bothered him because it was not his. So I wound up watching with him 42 to 1, which is the story of Buster Douglas. If not, go check it out on ESPN Plus. And also Chasing Tyson. And Oscar got really excited because he saw a picture of himself in the crowd. It was really cute. He had a really good flashback there. Did anybody try to watch the shit from England?
I just
That's
saw
a
the
no.
highlights afterwards. I didn't really like watch it live. I started watching it early because I forgot that it was early. But then I started doing stuff, and then I totally forgot about the main event. I was like, oh shit. And then afterwards, I just saw the highlight, and I was like, all right, well, I didn't miss much.
Yeah, if it
Yeah,
was early in the morning, I was at Saratoga doing the horse races.
of
So
course you were, Andrew. You were
sorry
doing.
about that one.
By the way, you can't say that because my phone's monitoring, so now they might think I have an animal sex addiction.
Oh my god.
I'm just saying that out loud for the room. With all of that said, I turn now to our international European correspondent who actually does the
Well,
review
wait.
of the. Well, yeah. Oh, wait.
We had a PBC. Did anyone watch the PBC last night? I didn't catch the Lara fight.
I didn't even know it was
heard
on.
Angulo lost.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Angulo's
I
replacement beat. Okay, for those of you who don't know, Angulo was scheduled to fight a no-name. The no-name got.
Khalib Trax.
Oh, no, Caleb Trax, right. The guy I know and interviewed. Caleb Trax pulled out at the last minute, right?
Uh-huh.
The replacement came in, and the replacement beat him. I watched the highlights.
Dude,
That's hilarious.
Hey, the dude from the crowd. He literally looked like the
He
guy
really
from the
was.
crowd.
No.
when he got on
It was
the
like,
scale.
does anybody in the arena want to fight me tonight?
Mhm.
All right, you guys ready for the fun fact from Oscar De La Hoya himself? Al Heyman is not a real person. He says he's never met him. Just thought I'd throw it out there. Yeah, so the replacement wins. Did anybody watch this other than the highlights? I did watch the highlights, and it just made me laugh and laugh and laugh.
Yeah, I caught it.
What did you think, Miguel Antonio Betegan?
Well, I mean, you know, his replacement Hernandez. Hey, you wanna fight the ring? They're like, sure. Oh, dude, he whooped Alfredo's ass, man. Like he was mad. Angulo, like he's like 38 now, and he, you know, his point is just slow as fuck, and he has his chin. You know, he wasn't really trying at any point. He has his chin, and it was bad. Alfredo was from Vladimir Hernandez, the opponent, but was way more active, and from the jump, like he knew from the jump he needed to get started. And from what I understand, Hernandez was actually like prepping for another PBC fight. Like I don't know if it was another card or another on the fight on the undercard on that same one, but it was pretty much already prepped. So when they offered him the gig, he took it.
Okay. You were fading out a little bit. Did all that come through for you at least, Andrew?
No, I didn't hear it either. That's why I just stood quiet.
Thanks.
Oh man,
That just means that because apparently I'm not allowed a computer at the compound. I'm only allowed an iPhone and a boom headset and recording equipment, which makes no sense to me how they think. But all right, I'm cool. Which is why try say that all again, Miguel. I know the people listen to that got mad.
So Vladimir Hernandez, as far as I understand, he was already prepping for like another fight on
It happened again, right? It's happening again.
Yeah.
Like he was clear for 2 seconds and then he faded off again.
Miguel, as soon as you start talking about the fight, you just go away.
Wait, hold on. Is Oscar somewhere in the room fucking with something? Like he's jamming a signal? I don't even know what to say about that. That's almost hilarious.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Okay, that takes us to Wednesday.
Hey, Miguel, the key, nobody likes PVC anymore. Your fucking computer's even shutting off.
No shit. That shit's hilarious. Let's move to Wednesday. Wednesday from Australia, and this is from our European international correspondent, Sam Navajero, also executive producer of All Things International and reviewing this show. I'm already sure the review is going to be Lee is no longer drinking vodka, he's drinking coffee. And still talking about women somehow. Yes, I am. Sam, I gave him an update. Did you watch the Horn fight? Because we had this conversation. Yes. It was like a really sloppy fight. And his response was, as you would say, Lee, Horn made weight and got paid. I just got off the phone with friends to create photographic and video content in the fight game. I mentioned that all the stars aligned for Horn against Pacquiao. No doubt this has happened a million times in boxing, but I think Horn's career was a mix of taking advantage and taking the stars for granted. Horn also has a very good promoter backing him that got him the opportunity. Horn capitalized on it and scored a huge upset over Pacquiao. Also, I don't think that Pacquiao took the Horn fight as seriously as he should have. Horn had very poor management. Glenn Rushton, his manager trainer, wasn't aware of the opportunity he had in his hands after Horn beat Pacquiao. The future looked so bright for Horn, but Rushton made the decision to go to the middleweight, which was a weird one. Another downfall for any fighter would also be that once you've made your money and start a family, I think it's hard to have the same hunger. Don't forget to mention that over 16,000 fans, Andrew, were in attendance. The biggest fight of the year is from Australia, and this is a direct quote. This should piss Andrew off.
No. I mean, I didn't see it, so it must have been a real big soccer crowd because the place looked empty as shit. There was fans, ringside, the lower bowl, I guess you would say. But once again, maybe it was a soccer stadium that fits 80,000, and that's why it didn't look like there was anyone there. As far as the fight, I think I wish we could pull up Jeff Horn's record. He looked terrible, you guys. I mean,
he did. He looked. And Miguel knows this because I texted him almost immediately. I'm like, is Horn worse than I thought he actually was? Because it's a really messy slot, and he looked gassed early on in the fight.
A lot of holding. Horn would have been a hell of a fight for Floyd Mayweather at 42. I'll give him that because Floyd loved to hold at the end of his career, and it looked like Jeff Horn knows how to beat a guy that wants to hold on to him. With that being said, though, a lot of that shit is fouling, and it's not pretty. It's not boxing. It's not technical. There's nothing there. Like, he didn't even do it pretty. Forearms in the face, headbutts. Give Zoo credit. He was young. He went in there with the guy that was trying to basically maul him, and he cleaned his clock, dropped him twice in one round, dropped him again. They stopped the fight. So, yes, Zoo looks like he's on the path to success. Jeff Horn, you need to just go off into the sunset with your Manny Pacquiao victory because, seriously, that's all he's ever done, you guys. I want to say, doesn't he lose his next fight? Without seeing the record, I believe he loses his next fight, then has to rematch that guy to get a sloppy decision, and then fights the 50-year-old Medine, right? Anthony Mundine? Isn't that who he fights out there?
Yes.
Anybody? Miguel. Where's Miguel at?
I'm still here, I think.
We're all still here. What are you talking about? All right, what do you got? What do you got, Miguel?
I was impressed with Zoo. I was kind of already on the hype train anyway. I was a fan of his to begin with, so I was like, okay, if he's got himself now, he's gonna have himself a name, if you want to call Jeff Horn that, a name on his record. And can you guys hear me right now?
Yes, you're
You're
there.
echoing, which means
But you're
you're
there.
too close to your computer or something weird, probably. Who knows?
Shit.
It's picking up the microphone application on your computer is picking up you talking. Yeah, you need to leave the room. You can walk back later. It's all right.
Okay,
It's our first episode. I do apologize to the fan. Hey, fun fact for everybody. I'm taking art therapy that if you want to see, I'm taking watercolors, Andrew. I'll be posting brand new Listen to Fight Net Radio, but those watercolors that'll be behind them in the graphics will be all mine. I start that today.
Is this any better? Can you guys hear me?
There you
That's
go.
perfect.
Yes, sir.
There you go.
Okay,
All right. What
cool.
did you think of the fight?
All right, so I was impressed with Sue. Of course, I was kind of already on the hype train anyway. I just figured this fight with Horn was going to give him a name on his record. Not that Jeff Horn is that big of a name anyway, but in Australia it's a big deal. And I enjoyed the fight. Yeah, like just to piggyback off of what Andrew's saying, he fucking cleaned Horn's clock, and I was pretty impressed with his strength. Because Horn, I mean, yeah, granted, we already talked about Horn looking like crap. He looked very weak, but he tried to clinch and throw a lot of punches to behind the head. But Sue,
I like how you slipped that in there.
Yeah.
he threw a lot of those fucking punches in. But I give credit to Sue for keeping his composure. He's a young cat, but he didn't let that brawl kind of get out of hand. It wasn't like he was like, oh shit, this guy hit me, now I'm gonna get him back. He kept his composure and he took Horn to school. I was thoroughly impressed. I loved it, but of course, I'm kind of already on the hype train. So.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, I just looked up his record. He actually lost a TKO to Michael Zarafa, then rematched him to only win a majority decision, and then he fought Zhu. And Anthony Mundine is the guy that he fought in Australia, and Mundine was about 50-something, 54 years old, I think, when he fought Jeff Horn. So I like what Zhu did. Yes, he looks fabulous, right? Everyone remembers his dad as soon as you look at him, so that's going to make him money right there. That just keep it slow. Maybe who are you saying as the next opponent when you text us, Miguel?
Oh, Austin Trout.
Austin Trout. Excellent name.
Like
somewhere
Trout is a great name.
Yeah, somewhere around there. I mean, to be honest, I don't know if it could happen, but you have a lot of fighters that are trying to come back. Zhu and De La Hoya in Australia. Fuck your 16,000, Sam. That might do 80,000 for little Zhu out there. So try to work something like that. But no, I wouldn't rush this kid as of yet. We don't know exactly where it's at.
With all of that said, let's rewind the clock a little bit more. Before Oscar actually showed up, and we'll talk about that here in rehab with me. Let's rewind to the following Saturday. Last Saturday night, we had a UFC fight card, I believe, right? Also at the same time, we also had boxing on ESPN, and that's when I got into the fight with the Bulgarian weightlifter. Apparently she wanted to watch the Laker game and I wanted to watch boxing. It turned into a whole thing. But yeah, that's how I remember the evening. It was really intense. I stayed awake all night. I was really scared of her. She's very big. She's like 230 pounds. It's a big chick. I want to watch the Lakers. I'm like, yeah, but I want to watch boxing. It was a thing in the room. It really was. I mean, I get it. I mean, there are other rooms we could have gone to. We also have the ability to order other TVs for the room, apparently. But I wanted to watch it on the 100-inch. But apparently, so I watched the Laker game and then rewatched the basketball game, the fight later on. She won, by the way. So with all that said, let's talk about it. ESPN, it was a pretty good fight card. Screw the main event. The actual fight card itself was fairly entertaining. I'd like to hear your feedback. I'll start with you. We were talking about it on the night we were watching it. I was fairly impressed and enjoyed my evening of sober boxing for the first time. I didn't feel like I needed to be shit-faced or having a chick blow me while I watched shitty boxing. Well, unless I'm wrong and I'm just in a pink cloud, tell me about last Saturday. I'll start with you, Miguel.
Last Saturday, last Saturday the UFC card.
What the hell?
Oh man, I keep cutting out.
What is it that makes you fade away
I
like
don't
a
know.
ghost?
Like it was working fine a few months ago.
We never had these problems with
Fight
other
Net Radio has taken on its own mind. It don't like the PBC or UFC. Sorry.
Well, last Saturday was it PBC? I thought it was ESPN. It was ESPN.
What? Oh, we're
Or no,
talking
it was Fox.
boxing.
It was the Fox card. It was a Fox card. You're right. It was PBC. I'm wrong. Jesus, I've
Oh,
watched
was
so
it
much boxing this week.
White and
Yeah, it was that Fox card that was on in the afternoon. Yeah. And then I had to rewatch it on Fox Sports 1 after the Bulgarian took her Thorazine and went to sleep. So, yeah, let's talk about this Fox card. It really wasn't horrible, Miguel. Unless I'm just high and I'm still fucking coming down from drugs and alcohol. We've lost. I don't know what's going on with you, Miguel. You were so solid, and now.
I haven't.
All right, I'll start with Andrew. You just screw around for a second. Andrew, what'd you think of the Fox card last week?
Give me the main event, Lee.
I didn't watch the main event.
Why
I got
God
tired.
damn it, you
It was
guys.
Sean Porter. It was Showtime. Sean Porter's return.
Oh
to the ring.
yeah. There it is. You know what?
Sean
He
was
fought-
bullshit.
Yeah.
But the rest of the card was good.
Shit, man. I watched the Porter fight. He dominated the fight, but it was a broken record, man. I mean, it was just him mollywopping some kid that he couldn't stop. The kid never fought in America. Yes, he was undefeated, but he had a lot of going against him. I see Sean Porter doesn't go anywhere in my rankings. It was a gap filler. That was a gap filler fight. Easy win for
crazier
Porter.
than that. Because you didn't watch the broadcast. Crazier than that, they kept running these pieces about Sean Porter before and after on Fox Sports 1 about how great it is, and he's returning to the ring, and they're like showing. They were running knockouts by Sean Porter and fights by Sean Porter, and they literally left out his 3 losses. And I had a different roommate at the time.
I lost interest in Sean Porter when he changed his character. In the middle of Sean Porter's career, he went from like this good kid from Ohio, his father and them
to
are all
being an
church.
Adrian Broner. Right.
Yeah, exactly. And he just seemed fake at doing it, right? He didn't play the role well. Neither did his dad. Like his dad, it was just, I didn't like that part of Porter's career. So that's probably why, I'm not too. And then he's lost a lot of his big fights. Look, Porter's great. I think he's more of an athlete than a boxer. And so, yeah, it's just he's almost on the way to being.
Well, and I'll go back to it. His 3 losses are to 3 people that he had to show up for, and he failed. Everybody else he's ever beaten is a subpar, subhuman,
Kell Brook being his
borderline
biggest win,
reptilian or taxi cab driver. Yeah, no shit. And they were showing it on Fox all day, like, look at Sean Porter, look at these great, like, literally all day on Fox Sports. They were running Sean Porter fights, and I'm like, and my previous roommate before I got Oscar, who knew nothing about boxing, was like, oh, that looks really impressive. The fight should be good. I said, no, he fought 3 real names, and he lost to 3 real names. Everybody else is now scrubbing dishes at a Denny's. I mean, this Sean Porter experiment has got to end by the PBC. Miguel, what do you think?
Well, first off, can you guys hear me?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay, cool. All right.
You're working just fine.
Yeah, for some reason it comes and it goes. But yeah, same old Sean. Nothing different, right? I mean, he just goes in there and bullies them. I thought that guy, what was his name? Formella, I think was his last name. I've seen him. I know he's fought at 154 before, so I thought he was going to be able to kind of handle his own, but it didn't look like it. He seemed like he was more like starstruck, that Lennox Lewis was there, shit. And it just seemed like he was just more content with being there with actually just trying to win the fight.
Yeah.
Did he? And actually, he lost to Kell Brook. So it's Devin Alexander's who he beat for his title? It says IBF.
Well, he beat Danny Garcia for the WBC.
Okay.
Again, But
There
that's a
you go.
B-level
That's
fighter.
his biggest win then, because it sure in the hell ain't
That's a
Devin
B-plus
Alexander.
fighter.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
Danny
but
Garcia,
everybody's beating Danny
Thurman
Garcia.
lost
Come
the
on,
quarter.
everybody's beating Danny.
that's what I mean.
Everybody.
Yeah.
That doesn't make you a real fighter by beating Danny.
No. But that's his best win, Lee. That's his best win right there,
I
is Danny
agree, I agree.
Garcia.
And that's look, if we're grading fighters, I'll say that Danny Garcia is a B level fighter. He's not elite. His 3 elite fights, we saw what happened. I mean, that's
And you know, seriously, Porter should be fighting Terrence Crawford, not accepting some fight against some nobody. We all know that Crawford and Bob Arum are dying to get one of these PBC guys that keep hiding behind Al Heyman's skirt, because it's not Terrence that's hiding. They're offering $1 million in a COVID time to fighters in the PBC, and they're not getting responses back. Fucking Keith Thurman came out the other day. Oh, what did he ask for? 10 million or something like that? Like, this dude's a fucking joke. Why don't you just say you don't want to fight Terrence Crawford? Terrence Crawford, it's sad the position that he's in. I'm glad that he's stuck with Bob Arum and didn't buy into this PBC bullshit. But seriously, all of them are scared of Crawford. I'll come out and say it. None of you guys want Crawford. You know he'll beat you, and you're trying to maximize your check before your ass is out of the rankings, because once you lose to Crawford, Porter's done, Garcia's done, Thurman's done. You want to know why? All of you guys lost to PBC fighters already. So you're fucking done when Terrence Crawford walks over you. So you're sitting here, you're trying to block him or not give him a fight until they give you some ridiculous price. It's really sad what the welterweight division has turned to, all these money grabbers. Terrence Crawford, the best out of all of them. And to me, I don't give them no attention until they sign to fight Crawford. Fuck them all.
Wow. Hot take.
Yeah, you got to put it. Hey, Lee, we have to put it out there, though. This is bullshit. What Danny Garcia, Sean Porter, all of you guys that have already lost to Spence or already have O's that Thurman or Keith Thurman's already lost to Pacquiao. You're I don't want to go too far, but you're doing way too much holding Crawford out for these many years. Sign the fight, get the money that's up there. It's going to be $1 million. And hey, maybe you win, maybe you don't. My money's on Crawford on all 3 of you, though. And put Manny Pacquiao in there, my money's on Crawford for Pacquiao, too. So fuck him, too, for not signing to fight Crawford yet. Once again, another guy trying to maximize his check before he takes that L.
Yeah. Now I see why you drink coffee, Andrew, because all I've had is coffee for the last 10 days. Quite enjoyable. All right. Moving forward to the mailbag. These are texts that are exchanged between the two of us. And I'll start with Wednesday, August 19th, the day I came into my facility, the compound. And it was from Miguel Antonio Barragan. It was a tweet by Steve Kim saying that Oscar De La Hoya told ESPN on Wednesday night that he will return to the ring. By the way, he was checked in on Saturday here with me, so that should tell you the condition he was in when he made that tweet. Of course, this was a tweet made by Steve Kim, who, in the words of Oscar, is a bitch. All right. I didn't say it. Oscar did. I'm just saying it out loud. That was from earlier in the week, so you guys can take that tweet for what it's worth. Apparently, Oscar told me directly that he was basically fucked up at the time he sent that, which is kind of funny. He likes to send shit to Steve to see if he'll put it on his Twitter, which apparently he did this time. Which turns to our next story via tweet between the 3 of us. And this is about Adrian Stabone the Broner. Yes, that's right. You heard it correctly. This is by True Boxing Heads AB. Is that right? Trejeda. Like by True Boxing Heads AB at Adrian Broner. Going in for a hard time, going in for 7 days, a whole week, for probation violation. Is it true he was crying, though? ? Didn't see that, but can anyone confirm or deny? Word is coming back as the can man. Okay, I don't know what that means. Can man, when he gets out, and anyone can get it. I don't know. Hashtag war ready. Hashtag free AB. That's hilarious. Hashtag boxing. So
he's doing the week. How stupid.
did anybody confirm or deny that AB, Adrian Broner, is doing a whole week for probation violations? Anyone got any updates?
Miguel?
No updates yet. No, I mean, I don't even know if he was legitimately crying, but I mean, I'm sure he's used to it by now. What did he do? Like not pay his fucking jewelers?
Yeah.
No, this was on a sexual assault case. I believe he kissed a girl in the club, and the kiss itself is going to cost Adrian Broner, which his problem is not jail. His problem is the fine the judge threw on him for kissing that girl. $830,000 Adrian Broner is supposed to pay this girl for the sexual assault. That's his problem. Adrian Broner has no money, 10 kids, and now a lawsuit on his hand for you call it a lawsuit or a bill on his hands for $830,000. Don't be surprised Adrian Broner comes back talking mess about everybody in the sport. Even he might be calling Bob Arum too to get that fight with Terrence Crawford if he can, Jose Ramirez if he can. Like Adrian's about to come back for a real cheap price. Fuck that $10 million. He's taking whatever people are offering because he owes people, and he has 10 kids, you guys. 10 kids, and his wife left him. Yay!
There you go. Moving forward.
Now wait a minute. You didn't even ask us about Oscar.
What do you want to know about Oscar? I know everything about Oscar now. He talks in his sleep. He snores. The fishnet story is true. The spoon story is true. I was right about the 35er in Pasadena. What do you want to know?
Is the comeback legit? Do you think he's really coming back, or was he
Why do you think he was checked into rehab with me, bro? He was fucked up and fucking with Steve Kim.
No way.
Anybody confirm it? I beg of you to go and Google and find a confirmation where you see a quote other than Steve Kim.
Yeah, no, I don't know, because Oscar is hurting for money right now. He is like the only thing that could generate.
Like I did.
What's that?
He paid the money for $100,000 a month rehab like I did.
No, I get all that, Lee, but seriously, his only money right now is Canelo. Canelo hasn't fought in a while. We know they have bad times even when they're going through negotiations. That's really what's holding up their fight again. Did you guys hear rumors about Canelo even maybe reaching out to put a fight on PBC? Now, I don't know if that's just to put pressure on.
He's going to come up in our stories in just a few minutes where he's
not sorry.
even that good. No. That's not I don't think that's a part of the story. But he's looking real lethargic, and I don't know if this is all a concerted plan. I tried to bring up Canelo with Oscar. He doesn't seem to want to talk about it too much. It's like a real touchy subject with him. It's kind of like the Ryan Garcia thing, which I just basically walk by and say Ryan Garcia, and he has like a PTSD thing and has to go lay down for a while. So I don't know. And Canelo looks to be putting on some kind of an act on some level. We'll talk about it in a minute.
Well, they want money.
They've got training camp.
They want money that Dazn don't have anymore.
They don't want to take a discount.
Well, let's turn now directly to our mailbag and let's get started. Our news is coming from fightnews.com in memory of the one and only Flat Top who passed away a couple of weeks ago. Apparently, I was in a blackout because when I went to the website to find out about it, I found out Flat Top was dead. Wow, did I drink a lot for the last year. Chavez Jr. versus Cazares fight is off officially as of August 29th. This coming to us from Hezekiel Balderas. At a virtual press conference, the discussion got heated when Julio Cesar Chavez Sr., boxers Mario Cazares and Julio Cesar Jr., and Mario's manager couldn't agree to a weight division. Cazares, am I saying this even close, Miguel? Cazares?
Yeah, you're close, yeah.
Okay. And his team stood their ground that the fight was going to take place at 172, which was the original agreement. But Chavez Sr. got angry and said that the fight was going to take place at 175, or there would be no fight. And here is the quote from Julio Cesar Chavez Sr. There will be no fight if the contest takes place at 175. I am the promoter. Julio Jr. is not in charge. I am in charge of this. If the fight doesn't take
Are
place at
you
175,
serious?
this is a direct quote, bro. I wish I was making these quotes up. I am in charge of this. If the fight doesn't take place at 175, Jr. won't fight on my card. Julio Jr. had surgery and gained a lot of weight. We moved the original date from October to September, so his health is what's important to me. If Cazares is going to beat him, he would beat him at any weight. Wow. Cazares and his manager, however, refused to give any concession in weight, traded words with Senior, insisting that the fight would take place at 172. A few hours after the virtual press conference, Chavez Jr. tweeted that he was stepping away from his father's event and the fight with Cazares is now off. Wow, there's a lot to unpack there. So, first of all, I didn't even know about this fight. Did we talk about this over the last year while I was in a blackout?
I don't remember this at all.
It actually just got announced recently, right, Miguel?
I think so, like late this month. Like, shit, I mean, I haven't heard anything.
Yes, that's what yes, I believe the same.
Okay, I was completely blown away reading the story. I just assumed it happened on a Sunday morning in a blackout, and I just don't remember it because it made me smile to read that story. I mean, let's talk about this. First of all, Senior putting down the law about his fat ass son not making weight. Okay. I don't even know about did we know that Junior had surgery? Anyone?
Not that either. What was the surgery on? His fucking knee?
No.
It didn't say in the article.
Was it his nose?
And
Was
I
it on
can't find any articles on this shit.
Was it his nose? When he
it probably didn't happen. His son's just fat.
Right.
His son's lazy. Right. We've seen the Chavez family change the weight limit the day before the fight, and that it's his Junior's a joke. His dad knows it.
5 or what?
Wow, I'm glad to find out that I didn't miss this story in a blackout because I really would have talked about this shit. I don't even know what to say about this. Are we even going to address that Junior wants to fight at 175? What would that body look like, for God's sakes?
Well, he fought
175
he got knocked out
pounds?
by 1-4 at 175. He got dropped.
Jesus. That's crazy. Wow. That's crazy. That was one of the better stories that happened in the last couple of days. Also, hey, did you guys, fun fact, did you guys know that Marco Huck went to heavyweight? And apparently he got a win. So, hey, shout out to former cruiserweight Marco Huck for going to heavyweight, and nobody's still knowing about Marco Huck, which I just find
remember him going to heavyweight, and I think he lost to like Povetkin, and then he moved back down. Because I remember that fight with Povetkin being a fucking
Apparently
fire
he went back up. He fought this week. Had no idea. Again, the reason I sound so inquisitive on all of these stories, I'm not sure if we've discussed these stories, and I'm not sure if I was in a blackout while I recorded that episode. And I'm a little too terrified to go listen to old Fight Net radio episodes to find out what condition I was in for some of those shows. What else do we have? No, I don't want to talk about
Povetkin and White, Antonio White.
Yeah. What did you say you faded out again for some reason? Were you talking PBC?
No. Transition fights with Dillian White and Povetkin.
There you go.
No.
Oh yeah, that story didn't come up. So the Dillian White fight is off, right? Because who's got COVID?
Damn,
in
this
that
show
scenario?
is so juicy. I forgot that one too. Damn it.
Yeah,
we had a lot to show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what happened. Like, see what happens when I go to rehab? Crazy shit happens. Yeah, that was last week. We lost that fight, so Dillian White continues his streak of being fucked as the #1 contender. Congratulations, bro. You are the most cursed man in the heavyweight division of all time.
Sometimes, Lee, this is why you got to only think for yourself, not for the company, not for anyone else. Dillian White didn't take care of himself, and now it really fucked him. Don't know if he's ever going to get a shot again. Don't know if he'll ever maximize the check what he should have had fighting Wilder. Very just a sad situation, and then the way it happened. Now, the only thing, I seen Deontay throw some shade at Dillian right away about, you remember when you were laughing at me? And that's the only thing that you can lean on, is that Dillian did put out a post or whatever, tweet, however you want to say it, on social media when Wilder was beat by Fury, talking mad shit about him. So, comes around, goes around. Here he is. He knocks Povetkin down twice. This fight looks like it's going to be a cakewalk. And out of nowhere, just one of the craziest uppercuts ever seen landed. Probably going to be the knockout of the year. He's out before he hits the ground. I mean, this fucking fight was over. Reminded me of Ricardo. Ricardo Lopez had a knockout like that coming under a jab. I forget the Asian man's name, but it was a beautiful knockout. It was just like the Povetkin one, perfectly timed. Just might have ended the career of Dillian White right there.
As far as I understand, there's like a rematch clause. So Eddie Hearn is talking about trying to get a rematch done before.
There you go.
Yeah, and that's totally fine. I mean, but still, we're talking once this rematch happens, if it happens, this is another, 6 months down the road, maybe 8, because he got knocked out. He's going to have to take a break. They're going to suspend his license for a while. He won't be able to train. So he's going to come back, fight Povetkin again, but I think everyone's going to be doing off to other things. I mean, Tyson Fury, you already seen he's calling out Anthony Joshua. Wilder's still there, but if he gets in with Anthony Joshua, that might be a 2-3 fight situation itself. Shot at this title.
Anthony Yarde returns to the ring on September 12th against nobody. The guy's name is actually Deck Spellman. I can't even make that shit up. Does anybody care about Anthony Yarde returning? I start with you, Miguel.
No, I mean, everything's losing.
Okay, that's still funny. I don't know if it was funnier when I was drunk, but on coffee it's funny. Andrew, do you care about Yarde?
I hope he has a good career. I believe Yarde just lost a bunch of family. Didn't he lose his father and grandfather, I think, on COVID, something like this. He had a real rough patch with this COVID pandemic. So, I just hope he has a good career. He was knocked out by a jab, so I don't know where his career is going to go. But yeah, it's sad what he just went through in this pandemic.
Team Benavidez wants to stay in the 168 ranking. Samson Lakowski, promoter of undefeated two-time world WBC super middleweight world champion David El Bandera Roja Benavidez, has sent the following letter to the WBC requesting that they reinstate Benavidez into their super middleweight rankings after failing to make weight for what would have been his first defense of the WBC strap against Romer Alexis Angulo on August 15th. The WBC installed Benavidez, 23-0 with 20 KOs, as their number one contender. Andrew, do we care about Benavidez?
No. Which Benavidez are we talking about?
David.
The super middleweight?
Correct.
Yeah, the coked up super middleweight.
Oh yeah, come on, you guys. I'm not high on this guy. He's got to start over.
Why do you think I handed it to you? This is what I learned from Joe Rogan podcast therapy. Throw it to your guy who's going to be angriest about it. It's good podcasting.
You know what? He won the fight, so I don't. He shouldn't move up or down. But he's definitely got issues. I think there's a lot of other guys in the super middleweight deserve Ramirez and Plant and also the kid from the UK, Smith, that deserve bigger shots than Benavidez at this time.
Miguel.
I do care about him. I like to support boxers. I feel like he's still a very, very good boxer. He won against Angulo, so he did what he needed to do, just not on the scale. He's lost the title twice, neither in the ring. That doesn't look very good. We can only give him so many chances.
That's terrible.
That's
That's terrible.
terrible.
You're telling me life has beat him twice?
That's
not a good. That's not a good record.
He's 0-2 against life.
Right.
But I still care about him. I still want to see him. As long as he gets on track, one more strike, and then he's like Chavez Jr. Status.
Josh Taylor. Josh Taylor to defend. Did the shows move this efficiently while I was drunk? It seems like we're moving at a much more efficient rate. My foggy history of the last year. Here's the other question. How many women did I date? I mean, I had to do a workshop paper on this topic. I know that I was in a couple of relationships, and I believe I bought a ring for someone in that process over the last year.
I counted.
Jesus Christ. I cannot drink. Josh Taylor to defend on September 29th on ESPN. For those of you who think this is a much better fight than at radio, go figure. Amsterdam 100 is not the way to go to record this show. WBA IBF Junior Welterweight Champion Josh Taylor, don't confuse me with Josh Warrington, will make his return to the ring. He's in the BT Sports studio against IBF #1 contender. Oh, you're going to love this one. Atpinan Kongsong on Saturday, September 26th, live on ESPN Plus in the United States, BT Sports in the UK. And who's going to sponsor this? #MTK for life, of course, and Top Rank Boxing. And, of course, Frank Warren, who's probably getting a kickback as well. Let's talk about Josh Taylor. The junior welterweight with 2 straps. I start with you, Andrew. All right, we got Josh Taylor. He's got a couple of the straps, and it's non-PBC. What does this mean in English? Can he be a real welterweight? Can he actually do something? Blah, 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 blah. Or is this MTK just, keeping a house clean?
No, if I'm not mistaken, Taylor's already signed to face Jose Ramirez if he wins this fight. So this is going to be a build-up to the Ramirez showdown. Miguel, I have that right, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Yeah, they announced this last night, Lee. So, this is going to be a huge fight for both men. It makes them the undisputed junior welterweight champ. Ramirez, last night he said, I believe some Americans have won it. Bernard Hopkins, Taylor. Who was the other one? Shit.
It was Terrence Crawford.
Terrence Crawford, yes, but no Mexican Americans have won it. So that's what Ramirez is gunning for. He said he's also willing to go to the UK to meet Josh Taylor for all 4 titles. So it's going to be a huge fight when it happens.
There you go. As we talked about earlier, Dillian White got knocked out by
You didn't even throw it to Miguel.
Oh, Miguel. Sorry, Miguel. Josh Taylor. I didn't know he knew about English white guys. I'm sorry. How long have you been on the show? Did I hire you while I was drunk?
You're so stupid.
Jesus Christ, I am such a bad drunk. How did you allow this? Apparently, I was in the hospital for a week as well. When did that happen? Yeah, you guys should have done something much sooner. I mean, just saying. I mean, it's nice to be here at the compound and my chakra's feeling much better with all the therapy sessions. But I digress. Miguel, tell me about Josh Taylor, not Josh Warrington.
No. Well, I mean, I'm looking forward to a potential unification fight with Ramirez. Not the Ramirez we saw last night, but I mean, like one of the few times that this weight division has been unified, it's kind of a big deal. We'll have one actual champion. I'm looking forward to that. Darth Taylor has been Postal, has been Regis Prograis, so those are some pretty decent names. I'm looking forward to that. I'm pretty excited of the unification, having one champion in the division. Big deal.
There you go.
And Lee, the reason why they'll take it to the UK is already having fans in the stadiums again. So and Ramirez says he really misses the crowd, so he'll fight in the UK just to hear it.
There you go. Rewinding the clock, because I'm sure there are people just dying to know these fun facts and what we thought. We talked about it for a brief second, but let's get it out there. Dillian White, literally the most fucked man in heavyweight boxing history. For those of you who don't know, ranked #1 by the WBC, beat every WBC person that they had lined up on the face of the planet. Should have fought Deontay Wilder literally and consecutively for the last 3 years. Lost to Alexander Povetkin. Tyson Fury asked for his comments, and he said, yep, I confirm it. He's the most fucked man in boxing. Let's talk about this for a brief second, because this is literally the tragic end of Dillian White's attempt to try to get a belt ever. Like, you fight all the way, you get ranked number 1, you have people go and try to petition the WBC to actually get you a fight. Deontay Wilder fights everybody but Dillian White in the WBC top 300 based on what I can tell. By the way, fun fact, I found out that I went to the Tyson Fury Deontay Wilder fight based on photos. Fun fact, people. I didn't even know I was there. Apparently I was covering it. I start with you, Andrew. Are you surprised that Dillian couldn't fucking keep it up and Povetkin took him out?
Perfect shot. Never seen it coming. Hopefully the rematch is different, even though, it was real weird how they said, oh, we're going to get a rematch. Dillian could get his number 1 ranking back. Really? I don't know if that's totally true. I don't remember that back in the day. You get knocked out, rematch the guy. Say you have a lousy win. Let's say it's a majority decision win. You automatically get number 1 contender again. So I don't know if that was totally truthful what Eddie Hearn was saying. And so yeah, no. Like I said, I think that punch. I think that might have been the it for the title run. Dillian can still fight, but with age behind him and the way that knockout was, Lee, he's not going to be the same man. He was put to sleep before he hit the canvas. Not too many boxers come back from one of those knockouts.
Miguel.
Yeah, it was a bad KO, man. Like when he landed, it looked like his head smacked off the canvas. So he was pretty much out before he landed. It was a clean ass uppercut. I've read a lot of tweets talking about him, White. We wanted him to fight Wilder. Like really, we wanted him to fight Wilder, as if Wilder ever threw an uppercut. But it's sad to see how bad he got knocked out. I don't think he's going to get another opportunity, especially at this age. But hopefully, I don't know if it's going to be any better for him in the rematch.
And to be honest with you, if boxing was a bigger sport, or Dillian White, I guess, was a bigger name, he really has a tell-all book here on how he, we talk about the Sergio Martinez thing a lot. He really has his own story here about how many times, because never received any step aside money, or even did he ever think about it? How much were they offering at one time to give up the title shot? Did he make a lot of money in the last 3 years? Hopefully they paid him good while making him wait, or making him do what, 3 mandatory what they kept calling it?
Yeah.
A shot at the title, a shot B at the title, a shot C at the, like, what the fuck? How many times do you have to get a shot at the title? So it was just, I really think he has something there. Hopefully someone could put a book together for him later on in his life. He's got to get a few more wins, get his name up there a little bit more. Then he can maybe fall back on this story of what Eddie Hearn did to him, Al Heyman did to him, the WBC, what they were telling him. I think there's a lot of components here that'd be interesting for a book.
I'm going to combine one story with a fun fact. Fun fact, okay? Katie Taylor, the undisputed Katie Taylor, who I still want to see naked, won in her title defense apparently a week ago. And here's the fun fact. If Dillian White writes a book and only sells 5 copies, he will make more money than Katie Taylor will make on her last title defense of all 4 of her belts. And our final story in the boxing division before we go to odds and ends, Sergio Martinez at age 45 wins in his comeback fight. None of us watched it, but I just want to talk about it because talk about fucked guys in the WBC. At least he finally got a shot on a bad wheel at the time. But former WBC middleweight champion Sergio Maravilla Martinez, the guy who's got the Netflix special about how Junior stayed away from him with help of his Chavez Jr.'s godfather, the late great Suleiman. He returned to the ring for the first time in 6 years on last Friday night in Spain, of all places, and he scored a 7th round TKO over Jose Miguel Bandio, who was 15-7 with 8 KOs. He also operates an Alberto's in Spain. Did you know that? Fun fact. Fun fact. He is also the manager and dishwasher at Alberto's of where was this? Torre la Vega, Spain. Wow, cool. Good fun fact in the article.
Nice.
Martinez continued to batter Bandino for the rest of the round. In round 7, it took him 7, by the way, 7 rounds to beat a guy who was 15-7 with 8 KOs. Woof. It was a body shot that ended the fight. All right, let's talk about this old man thing, because once again, even coming up again this week, we've had look, guys who are 45 plus are coming out of the woodwork thanks to Mike Tyson, Evander Holyfield, James Toney, Riddick Bowe.
Thanks to COVID.
I mean, is this what it's come down to? I've got to watch Rocky Balboa movies now with Sergio Martinez fighting dishwashers from Alfredo's.
My first question to you, Lee.
Yeah.
My first question to you, Lee, is where does the fight take place? Where did Martinez fight this weekend or last week?
Spain.
No, I know that. What weight?
Oh, what did they say? They didn't actually say weights. They're saying, yeah, it's got to be a middleweight. It's saying middleweight. So
okay, because I'm telling you right now, if I'm Zoo's people, this is another name I'm looking at to bring to Australia to try to have Tim Tszyu fight. Tim Tszyu's on a building stage right now. These old timers, Hoya and Martinez, I think they can fill a stadium in Australia, sort of like what Jeff Horn did with the Anthony Mundine situation, and they'll make a few dollars. And look, Martinez and Hoya are not making any money in America anymore. Nobody gives a flying fuck about Oscar in America fighting anymore. I don't see him selling any type of fight. And matter of fact, I mean, who would we even who could he go up against that he would even have a shot at? Pacquiao already destroyed him. Would he really step in the ring with Triple G, someone Canelo's got a trilogy with? Probably not. If I'm Martinez, if I'm De La Hoya, because Tszyu seems to be really hot in Australia, and we've seen Jeff Horn can turn $1 over there after his Pacquiao win. That's another name you might throw in for Tszyu. Tszyu versus Martinez. Martinez being ahead of De La Hoya because he already has a comeback win.
Okay. Miguel? Any feedback on the senior division that is now happening before our eyes?
If anybody has a crack, it's miles under.
Wow. You faded all the way to a clicky noise that time.
What the fuck?
I don't know.
I don't know. It comes and goes, but
do you have a ghost in the house? I don't know.
Most likely. But he found it where like he pretty much made it before coming to the U.S. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's interesting.
It cut the beginning and then not the ending.
And I'm guessing you've never moved from that spot, which is even funnier.
I've tried a couple of times. See, bam. For some reason it works. All right, so he fought in Spain, where he pretty much made his career before coming to the U.S. So I understand why he fought in Spain. But I mean, if anybody has a crack at coming back to him, I think he's got less miles on the odometer. Still a bad wheel, but I'm pretty sure he can get over that.
Yeah.
There you go. That takes us to our newest segment. I just decided to do it thanks to the Joe Rogan podcast therapy group that I'm in. This is shit that'll make you sound smart around the cooler on Monday. And we'll get feedback from the three of us on these current sports topics. It'll move over to football here shortly or something else. According to Joe, I need to include more general sports to end the show when I have additional time. So here's your 20 minutes of Zen to make it sound like you care about the rest of the sporting world, you as a boxing fan, because here's what I've learned here at the compound. Most people don't watch boxing. Go figure. Most people don't even know who Oscar is. I've been asked by a couple of people. They're like, who is that dude? I'm like, he's kind of famous. It's kind of funny, actually. Let's start off with the reaction in the household over there with Andrew, because he has a lot of kids. How did the Chadwick Boseman news go in your household, Andrew?
Yeah, that was sad. Very young, really had no idea that he was even battling that with all the movies that he put out in recent years. Kind of shows how strong he was, and he was a big boxing fan, so that kind of sucked too. We lost a boxing fan. It seemed like the guy was at a lot of fights. The man was at a lot of fights. All the fighters were posting pictures of him there at the fights with them. So yeah, it's just terrible news.
For those of you living under a rock, or you just don't care about movies in general or other human beings, Chadwick Boseman at the age of 46 died from colon cancer randomly and suddenly, which based on the stories wasn't that random. People were aware of it, and it's actually a testimony to what he did. Miguel, did it have any impact on your world? Has it come up in circles? Anything that somebody can use around a water cooler to make themselves sound good?
No, not really. I knew he was because of the movie, but like, it took me a second when I saw it come up on my Instagram feed. It took me a moment to remember who he was. I had to Google him real quick, and then I remembered. I was like, damn, because I mean, apparently he had the illness throughout the filming of the movie, and that's like some major balls, man. Like that's hard. The fact he's going through all that shit, and still had the professionalism to film the movie. But I mean, it's sad. As a young cat, or was, and my heart goes out to his family. Condolences, of course, but it's nobody in my inner circle, was a big, comic fan or anything like that because of him. But anyway, regardless, rest in peace.
There you go.
You could say with the Marvel Comics Black Panther movie, the guy was going to have a pretty cool life ahead of him. I could see another Black Panther movie coming out probably. He would have been, the guy was made, and to have this happen to him so early just sucks.
It was going to be like
Sucks,
I think, have a couple of Black Panther movies.
Also, this past week, another unarmed black man reaching into a vehicle took 7 to the back, paralyzing him, then causing a blackout of all sports on Wednesday, Thursday, and up to Friday. How do I know? Because I watched Terrell Owens, who apparently I'm scared of being a black American fearful of cops. Now, I'm not a black American. I have plenty of people here at the compound that are. The reason I bring this story up is, first of all, the sports stoppage. Secondly, Terrell Owens is full of shit if he says he's fearful, because he's Terrell Owens. And I highly suspect that he doesn't have that issue. There's a weird, okay, I want to make this clear. I think that the protests are just. I think the stoppages are just. I'm all the way down with kneeling and whatever, print whatever you want. Every life matters. That's the setup for you, Andrew. Go ahead. This is your every life matters moment.
No, what are you talking about, Lee? I mean,
Really?
seriously, I wish
Did I not say
the
that I was going to
athletes.
play the national anthem, or did that happen in a blackout as well, where I read something
Well,
about
it wasn't
you?
over the We weren't talking about the protests when you said that, though. We were talking about Trump's speech.
Yeah, I got a story about that.
I would rather see them do time in the inner city on their off time, not on the clock of their job. Stopping sports is not going to stop racism. No white man or racist person woke up and said, "Oh my God, no basketball." Well, I'm definitely going to change my views on the world now. It just, I don't get it. Sometimes, when we've had our weakest moments, the sports world has carried us, has given us an escape, and now we can't even get that from them. And I'm talking about the sports world. So it's just sad all the way around. Many times I believe we judge too fast off of these videos, and we don't let the actual justice system give evidence or give, tell us what's going on. I mean, yes, it's terrible they shot that man 7 times, But then 2 days later, he's waking up saying, "Hey, look, I had a knife on me, and then it was in the floor bed of his driver's side." There's also the question, there's just so many questions of why they shot him, why he did what he did. He had 3 kids in the back. Who would not apply with the cops while they have guns on you if you have 3 children in the back of the car? I mean, I'm doing whatever the cops say at this moment. I'm not. It's just weird. It's so many questions. Who's right? Who's wrong?
And haven't we talked about that I believe we've talked about this previously. It's amazing what a year of drinking will do for you. But I think in years past, we've talked about guys who get out of the car and do stupid shit with children in the car.
It's just a lot of bad decisions.
The level of irresponsibility on that by itself is insane. Miguel Antonio. Yeah, go ahead.
It's just, I wish we would just not react so fast to these videos, and even in the sports world, just a little bit too fast to jump to conclusions. Right away someone gets hurt and the other person's racist now. It's just so, or if you don't believe in the movement or the protesting, you're racist. You must be a Trump supporter, huh? Because you're not out there burning down buildings. Like, no, dude. I just know it's wrong to be out there vandalizing and breaking people's businesses. Like, every building they burn down, they ruin not only the life of the owner of that building, but the person renting it, the person applying jobs to the people that go there and work. Like, there's so many affected when we're out there vandalizing. Peaceful protests, totally with you guys. But a lot of these videos, they're not showing too many peaceful protests anymore. This shit's getting out of hand. Now, just this weekend in San Jose, California, that's nowhere near the place where the young man Blake was shot, they spray painted and vandalized the mayor's house. And he had the man, to his credit, had a regular house. Lee, looks like a house in any regular neighborhood. You would think the mayor of San Jose lived in a gated fucking community, but he doesn't. And they go there and they vandalize FU, BLM, Lives Matter. Like, what the hell did he have to do with anything? Very sad. I want it to all go away.
With that said, I'm going to add a little more fuel before we turn it over to Miguel. Tom Brady jumped on, of course. Hey, I'm listening and I'm ready to learn from teammates about social justice. Now, I'm going to say this because I can only talk on white issues as a mostly white person, because I have no position on this topic other than this particular thing. White people, stop saying, I'm going to talk to my black friends about social justice. Okay, stop. You just look stupid. Even Tom Brady, you look stupid. Miguel, how was it in Vegas? Is it a thing? Your insight.
It's not that major here, thank God. There haven't been any serious protests or anything like that. But again, I'm not trying to leave my house anyway. I only leave it until it's absolutely necessary for the store or something. But it doesn't seem to be affecting us too bad here in Vegas, thank God. And I hope it stays that way. But other than that, I mean, I try to stay away from watching the news because it's fucked up. We all know it's fucked up. It's not like we're okay with some of the shit that cops are doing. But I mean, really, there's only 3 stories, right? There's the cop story, there's the victim story, and the video that we get to see. And all that we see is the video. But we don't know the rest of the fucking story. And I know we're jumping to conclusions. We don't know who's right, who's wrong yet. But I mean, the only story that we're getting is the video.
There you go. Fun fact, because I've been told when we talk seriously, I have to come up with some humor. And this is a true story from my past week. In the sex wing here with me, sex and love wing, is an extraordinary hot little blonde surfer girl named Mary, who was walking around about this time happening. And this is during the Trump RNC thing. And apparently she's taking bumper sticker therapy, which is a real thing. They make bumper stickers, I guess, to keep them from having weird sex. I don't know how that works. And this is a real bumper sticker that she wanted to make and was trying it out on me. And I said, why don't you put that on Facebook story and see how it flies? Because when she told me what she wanted to print, my exact response was, it's not going to go well. I'm going to get your feedback. Everybody enjoy. This is a true story. Lee, I want to make a bumper sticker that says hunky for Trump. How do you think that'll go? I said, I think you'll get a brick through your window. Why? Isn't it ironic? You know, honky, I'm a honky, and I'm for Trump. I said, no, it's not going to go. First of all, we're in California. You're probably not just going to get a brick. You're probably going to get somebody to firebomb your car with that bumper sticker. I turn to you, Andrew. How would honky for Trump go in the Bay Area?
Yeah, not good. They would probably you would probably have someone try to remove they would either remove this bumper sticker if it was accessible, or they would write over it like "fuck Trump" or something like that, scratch it right into your bumper. Yes, it's sad. It's sad but true, Lee.
Have you
I've had
noticed
people
that
on my
hot women
feed.
are for Trump? Am I the only one who notices that really hot women are into Donald Trump? Like the hottest, craziest women I've seen on social media and even around here in sex rehab. Sex and love, by the way. I want to make that abundantly clear. Yes, I know. I keep buying rings. I'm working on it. And I relapsed yesterday. I admit I'm powerless over being in love with people. And, you know, they're like really insanely hot, fucked up women are into Donald Trump, and it scares the shit out of me for some very bizarre reason. I'm gonna have to have like a questionnaire on that particular topic. Miguel, in Las Vegas, how would honky for Trump go over in the greatest city on the planet?
Well, I mean, unless you want your tires slashed through a key car, I mean,
Right.
or something, I don't think it's probably a good idea.
And by the way, this debate about whether or not it would work literally carried on for about a day. And I kept trying to explain that I will run this by people in other areas, but I'm telling you straight up, nobody's going to let this one fly. Guess what? Floyd Mayweather is in the news. That's because Floyd Mayweather's business partner and Floyd are proposing police reform. Yes, you didn't know this. Not only is a promoter, not only is he one of the greatest boxers of all time, he is now going to be the person who does police reform. I can't even make this up. Amendment number 1 that they want in all police departments: zero tolerance for racial bias and violence against minorities. Any officer who has five, you're going to let him fuck up 5 times. 5
Wow.
confirmed incidents involving racial bias within a 5-year period. Do the math. That means 1 a year. Will be hit with a nationwide ban on employment in law enforcement. That seems extremely lenient. Let's start right there with that one. I don't even want to get to the rest because they're all racial responses. I think you're one and done. If they actually, I could be completely wrong as a white human being, but if you do something that is egregiously racist as a cop, I think they should take your badge. I could be completely wrong on this, but 5 years.
The problem with that, Lee, is you have a lot of people that scream racism just about every time they're pulled over. They get a ticket. They get, looked at by the cops. So you have a lot of false accusations in the inner cities. You've got a lot of cities that are paying out people. They don't know if what happened is true or not. It's a he say, she say situation most of the time. That's why these body cameras and all this stuff, it does benefit everybody. The officer, sometimes himself, when out of nowhere, you got hit with the lawsuit yesterday. They're suing the police force because how you arrested that person. They said you twisted their arm so bad they got damage in their elbow. They need therapy now. It's shit like this. There's so many of them. I don't know if you guys ever heard. Did you hear when the New York mayor came out when they were first doing about the defunding the police? And he said, how dare you say we're a racist police force? We have 4 million calls statewide a year. 4 million, Lee. People calling 911 for different disturbances. You're going to get a lot of, oh, he did this wrong. She did that wrong. You guys didn't do it by the book. There's a lot of that. So 1 a year. I mean, I think these cops, some of these cops in the places that they work, they get 1 a day, not 1 a year.
My. Miguel.
Well, I guess it'll depend on like how egregious it is, because like, granted, 5 seems like it's too too lenient. I mean, we don't want to give Felix Trinidad 5 points in bucket, punching the ball 10 times. We don't want to do that shit. But I mean, it's very case by case basis, because every other person is going to scream racism. Every single time there's going to be opportunity, someone's going to raise their hand and try to get money out of it because of this BLM. It's tough to say, man. I'm like, I don't know which way to go, honestly. But it's just it sucks because 5 seems lenient, but I mean, it has to be looked at as a case by case basis.
There you go.
I think it should go off of the numbers. It really has to go off the numbers of how many of these cases come in every city, town, state, things like that. You can't just go across the board and go, yep, if you get 5, you're out, because we're not going to have a police force. Seriously. No one's going to. It's right now, you've already got a lot of people not wanting to do this job. I said our medical industry was going to take a major hit with nurses not wanting to go back to this pandemic bullshit. What I'm basically saying is you're going to tell your kid to do something else. Maybe I have to do it because I put my whole life into this medical thing, but I'm not pointing my daughter into that field if they're not going to be properly taken care of when they're fighting a pandemic. You now got to look at that in the law enforcement area too. Do you really want this for your son? Every time you pull someone over, you got to fucking comply with them before they comply with you? Like, stop me on the bullshit. Go be a construction worker. You make more money. You don't have to deal with all this BS. Let me tell you something. When I go into a store, I get a barrier around me of 20 feet. I can put up cones wherever I want and tell people you can't walk through. I'm working in an elevated spot. I might drop a drill on you. That no one tells me nothing. No one says I'm racist or no, I'm going to go through this anyways. Sometimes they do. Don't get the shit twisted, but a way easier life than being a law enforcement. I think law enforcement takes a hit if we continue to hit them with these bogus charges sometimes. And believe me, people, they're bogus. That's why they leave the media right away. You can't have a gun. You can't have a knife if you're a felon. You can't be around the person if she has a restraining order on you. If you have a warrant out, the cops are going to take you down hard. If you have a sexual 3 assault warrant out on you, meaning you slept with a minor, like all of these things always come out. One dude was on PCP. They go, he's on PCP. The guy's calling the 911. Hey, we think this guy's on PCP. The cop gets there. The guy won't comply with the cop, goes into his driver door. The cop shoots him. I don't know if the man died or not. That's not the moral of the story. The story gets lit on fire. A week later, the man's sister comes out and goes, yeah, my brother had an addiction to PCP. Sorry. Fuck out of here. The bogus charges. We cannot be doing this to the police force, or they are going to tell the next generation it ain't even fucking worth it. Pass.
This is going way better than I thought it would, Miguel, when I came up with the idea with Joe Rogan. Now we're into the lightning round of water cooler talk, sports related. First and foremost, if you did not see it, I highly recommend it. It would be Herschel Walker's speech at the Republican National Convention, which is possibly the worst reason to vote for Donald Trump based on Herschel Walker's testimony. If you have not watched it, let me cut to the chase. You should vote for Donald Trump because he went to Disneyland with Herschel Walker and his family and his kids in a suit and wrote It's a Small World. That's hilarious. Okay, if you don't see the irony in what he's recommending you to vote for a president on, that's the funniest shit of all time. Secondly, Usain Bolt tests positive for COVID-19 after his birthday bash. No, I'm not going to make fun of the birthday bash or what fluids were swapped by Usain Bolt. I'm here to give you a fun fact. We now know who the fastest man is who has COVID. There you go. Huh? I wrote that. Last but not least, they dug up Deontay Wilder, who's been living on his shitty house in Tuscaloosa, Mississippi, trying to figure out how he lost out on millions and millions of dollars. And when TMZ got a hold of him, here's what he said. I hit harder than Mike Tyson. So I'm going to go around the room to end this episode. I'll start. No, you don't. Because if you did, you would have won the last fight. Period. I turn to you, Andrew. Do you think that he hits harder than a prime Mike Tyson?
The guy that no, he doesn't. No, absolutely not. I was gonna go into opposition, but I don't have to. No, Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson hits harder than Deontay Wilder.
Miguel Antonio Barragan.
I'm going to say absolutely not. He still hacks. Some of his right hands look like he's slapping. That's not saying they're not hard, but I mean, if you threw him straighter, maybe he'd be hard, but no way.
There you go. And there's your fun fact water cooler. If you guys want to comment about it, whether or not you want me to keep the water cooler sports related in, yes, I realize it was political, but the sports stars got political this week. So therefore, fuck Tom Brady, who's going to ask his black fans how to behave. Are you fucking kidding me, Tom? You held the press conference for that. That is the whitest white guy move ever. To have a press conference where you sit down and go, yeah, I'm going to ask the other guys on the team how I should behave.
You know, Roger Goodell came out and said the same thing. He wished he would have sat down with Kaepernick a few years ago and now talked to him about this, how they could have approached this subject. Every case is different. Not saying every cop out there is a good cop, bad cop. Every case is different, but we must do a better job of letting the evidence come out before we pass judgment and start burning shit down. It is not right when you burn down a city and then we're told, oh wait, no, that dude was a felon. He had a warrant and a weapon.
And
Sorry. Wait, hold on. Speaking as a felon fucking knows if he has a weapon on him when the cops arrest him, that is another charge. Okay? That makes a clear reason why you're trying to dump the weapon. You can't have a weapon on you. The fuck? Anybody knows that. That's from the, what's that, DJ Khaled? The Hood. You know that song? Anybody knows that. That's why he has a direct line to the driver door. Damn, I got a knife on me. If that knife is over so many inches, guess what, Lee? That's another charge.
And if you're counting strikes and you're in California, that's a really bad time.
I told you before, people, sometimes getting away from the police is not about I'm going home and they're going to forget that I did a crime. It's about getting rid of evidence. Remember this before you pass judgment.
Yeah, that seems to be a big topic with the, because I supervise the cleaning crew that has to clean up the compound. That's my job. They talk a lot about 3 strikes and how it's fucked up. And my answer for these underprivileged people that are just happy to be making no money and helping their sobriety, I guess. I used air quotes. You can't see that. But, hey, how about not commit a crime? I'm going to go out on a limb.
And go out on a limb there. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Now shut up and scrub the floor.
And I got to give not a shout out, but we got to acknowledge that Mr. Blake, I believe his name is Blake, right? The one that just got shot, paralyzed by the cops.
Correct.
He woke up and did tell everyone to relax. That is awesome that he does that. And to be honest with you, the last 2 guys, there was a shooting here in Hayward, California, where a Mexican man, he came out of his house with a knife and he started doing like some kind of weird dance, Lee, on the cops. The cops had their guns on him because it was a domestic case that was called in. The cops get there. The man exits the house with the knife. In the middle of the guy's dance, there's one part where he lifts the knife above his head. And right when he did that, boom, 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 he's shot. The shooting made you think the man was dead, but he doesn't die. And guess what? When he wakes up, he tells everyone in Hayward, California, relax. I did put the knife in a throwing position. That was my fault. You guys can look these things up. So you got to, you got to think sometimes, the guy isn't alive to be able to tell people he fucked up. But the 2 cases where the dude didn't die, they woke up and said, chill. I did have some fault in this shooting.
There you go. Once around the room, Andrew, anything that we missed that you want to talk about?
No, sir. I just glad to be back. See you next weekend, you guys.
Absolutely.
Hopefully, yeah, a lot easier times. Hopefully, we have better times next Sunday.
Hopefully. And we're getting closer to football, which will occupy that final segment of the program, probably. Miguel.
Nothing additional to add. Hopefully, this was a little smoother next week.
Hopefully you don't keep fading out too next week.
Exactly.
weird. From me, I can safely say thank you, everyone, for tolerating a year of my drunken stupidity. I will have Oscar De La Hoya for you next week. He has promised to come on for a couple of minutes. Apparently, he found it very funny about the whole thing I had with Andrew and the fake voice I was doing for the last couple of years. He was unaware of it. I explained to him that he's actually been on the show in real life a couple of times when I was on in San Diego, and he says, I don't remember it. I said, that's why you're in rehab. And he goes, how do you know? Maybe I just do a lot of shows. And I said, because I don't remember last year. And based on reports of my last year, I did a lot of really crazy shit. Go figure. With all of that said, please go to lasvegasdiscount.net. I don't know how the mixing of the show will go down. I'm not allowed a computer. I don't know why. Apparently that falls under possible porn addiction, but they're allowing me to have my iPhone, which gets the same porn. I don't, again, there's some very weird rules, right? Yeah, you're ordering a boom mic in a whole podcasting studio. You need to use your iPhone. You can't use a computer. Well, why can't we use a computer? Well, it's basically porn related. But can't I get porn on my iPhone? They just stared at me inquisitively. And I said, aren't iPhones basically computers anyway?
Yeah. Yep.
They're trying to
Okay.
control.
With all of that said, Miguel, hit the stop button on the record. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Take care, you guys.